We were on day 15. It's a little later in the day than I would like to have done it, but I had a lot of work today. And I was working on a lot of things today. When you are healing and you're being completely honest with yourself, it hurts. Especially when you didn't really do anything to deserve it. And the people that you should have with you, supporting you, helping you, they're not there. This mother wound sucks. It sucks. And I won't allow myself to get to a point where I cry for her. If I get to a point where I cry for myself. And so many words come to my mind, but the biggest one right now is disgusted. I was told that there are so many people disgusted with me because of what I have said to my mother. And I understand where they're coming from. And I understand that had it been my mom, I wouldn't have said those things. I wouldn't have said those things. It was my mother. My mom died a little bit over the years. And she died a long time ago. All I have is a mother. And literally all you have to do to be a mother is give birth to somebody. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been good things that she has done in my life that I have been thankful, grateful, whatever for. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's so ridiculous how people will pay more attention to your reaction than figuring out the reason for your reaction. Yes, we have to be mindful. Yes, we have to be kind and whatever. However, if someone is abusing you in your face, you defend yourself. You get yourself out. Whatever. When you have been raised and brainwashed and whatever that, oh, your mother and your father, you obey them, you follow them. Not when they're abusing you. And here's I wish it was physical. At this point, I mean, not at this point, but prior to now, I wish it would have been physical, because then everybody would see it and they would believe me. They wouldn't be like, hey, you're irrational, you're crazy, you're being ridiculous, you're disgusting. No. Because let me tell you, if you had the things done to me, done to you, you wouldn't be saying this shit. You would want someone to believe you. You would want someone to connect with. Now I don't need that. I don't care who believes me. I don't care who believes me. I don't need that validation. I know what happened. I know what happened. And that's what's important. If you know your truth, when you figure it out and you know your truth, it does not matter what anyone else thinks, feels, believes, whatever. It does not matter. My mother's father sexually violated me. They wrote it down as molested. I was molested by her father. Now, in that point, she was still my mom. And my mom stood up for me back then. She really did. She stood up for me. She did what was right even when it was hard. Granted, I know that I have paperwork that says that, it didn't really seem like she did believe it. And I know that we did physically move away from him so that I didn't have any more contact with him. But here's what gets me. She told me that after that whole thing, her dad died. She said, my dad died that day. I said, okay, cool. However, when we moved, and years and years and years, she still talked to him on the phone, where I could hear, in my presence. She would talk about her daddy and all of the fun stuff they did and all, like, how good of a person that he was. In front of me, to me. And she would go and visit. That's a live relationship. That is a live relationship. And then he dies of starvation. Yay for me. I'm like, yay. Hey, you at least, I got a little bit of justice. I got a little bit of justice. Cool. She goes to the funeral. I don't know the reasoning why she went to the funeral, but I know she went to the funeral. So for like closure, because I thought he was already dead to you. And then not only do you go, or does she go to the funeral, no one will do the funeral. So she gets my father to do it. My father orchestrates and does the funeral for her. My mom would have done the right thing by me, especially, even though it was a hard decision to make. My parents were both given an opportunity to choose me, to do the right thing by me. That man violated me and other people as well. So, did you just need to lay to rest the pedophile? Did you just need to lay to rest my abuser? Her abuser? Was it just that much closure? Because let me tell you, my mother trained me, brainwashed me, groomed me to stick up for the predators, to stick up for the abusers in my life. And all I have ever done is try to get her away from her abusers. My father being the biggest one. The main one. I mean, her father groomed her to do that too, but that's besides the point right now. Keep the abuser happy and the peace is settled. Or keep the abuser happy and the abuser is happy. The peace is there. The peace comes when you keep the abuser happy. That's not right. That's not true. Like, that's not how we should be living life. So in retrospect to that, she then became my enabler and my abuser. So then I got to thinking about it. Started really thinking about it. And I was like, that doesn't tie into each other. And then I realized, yes, it does. Because my parents only did a portion to keep me safe. And they didn't continue it. I learned that when put in a situation when you want to say no, or you have said no, and it isn't respected, it is better to let them have it rather than forcefully taking it. And I have had far too many people take from me what is not theirs and what they do not have access to. So much so. And this is like, hopefully you can follow along. Not so much so. My mother did not create safety for me. Like, my mother was not safe for me. So much so that when living underneath her roof, I was violated twice. Two times were successful. And I didn't tell her. I did not feel safe enough to tell her. I did not trust her to tell her. Because the last time I told her that I was violated, nothing came of it. And I'm not talking about the first time. It's happened multiple times. Yeah, I'm like a contender. I'm like a beacon for toxic, rapey, pedophile people. It's like this beacon of light that just brings them in. Because I'm cute and adorable. Well, guess what? I got to a certain point in my childhood that I said, fuck that. I'm just going to be a hard bitch. And that's what I was. I put on a mask and I pretended that I was this big, hard, tough bitch to hopefully be left alone. Didn't work. It didn't work. So if you're disgusted at me for what I have said to and about my mother, then you don't know her like I do. And now I'm to a point where I don't need or want either one of my parents. I don't. Because they're not safe. They're not safe for me. I didn't deserve this. Didn't deserve this. And if you have gone through this or you're going through it now, you don't deserve it either. You don't deserve it. We don't deserve this at all. No. So if someone's coming at you saying, well, that's your mom and that's your dad, how can you treat them? How can we treat them like that? Do you realize that we're fighting for our life? Like, I got in trouble for existing and being myself. I got in trouble because it was different than my parents. Like, no, that's not cool. That's not how we do things. That's not right. That's why I say my parents are narcissistic. They are one way with certain people. And when they're not around them, their mask falls off and their true colors show. Everybody's like, I'm worried about your mental health. I'm worried about your mental health. Well, you should have been worried about it before now. Should have been worried about it before now. But now I'm feeling better. I'm getting better. I'm healing and doing great. I mean, I know it doesn't really look like it right now, but it's also almost midnight. And it's been a long day. So just remember, if you know your story, if you know the truths of what happened to you. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if anyone believes you. It really does not matter if anyone believes you. You know it's true. You know it's true. Healing parental wounds. Yay! That's about a 50-50 bittersweet moment because it sucks to lose a lot of people and have them feel this way about me. But at the same time, I'm like, then y'all don't get it. Then y'all don't understand. And that's okay. I am happy for the people who don't understand. I am happy for the people who can't relate. I didn't want this as my story. I didn't want this as my story. I would have rathered a different story, which is why I'm creating my own now. Creating my own story. And I'm finishing up this so that I can go back into my story. Because why would I leave a house and land and freedom to go live at a shelter? That was my step up. That was my step out of the toxicity, of the narcissism, of the abuse, of the enabling. That was my step out. It wasn't some fucking narrative or agenda to make them look bad or make them the villain or the problem or whatever. No, it was literally, that's the only thing I knew how to do. Like, that was my only way out. That was the only way out. That's what literally got me to this freedom that I have now and peace that I have now. Yeah, do I still fight demons? Yup. Sure do. And then I sit with them. And we have a little chit chat. Demon will say things and I'm like, well, that's right, that's wrong. Or, hey, yeah, that's what happened, but let's understand the full spectrum of this. And then I go about my day. Go about my day. So those are the wounds I'm really dealing with right now. Man, when I was going through the whole like funeral ordeal, I was like, man, am I sure I'm not being selfish here? And finally came to the conclusion that it's not being selfish. It's just, when will you, like, why couldn't you choose me when it mattered? You only chose me when it made you look good, or you could use it to hold over my head. Like, I needed them to choose me when it fucking mattered, and they didn't. They didn't. Nope, they didn't. So, just remember, you're not alone. You're not alone. I know those words probably aren't necessarily a lot of help, but you're not alone. You've got this. Just sit and be brutally honest with yourself. And then be gently honest with yourself. Give yourself patience, grace, love, kindness, safety. Give it to yourself for right now. You don't need it from anybody else right now. You've got it. You can do this. I'm here doing it with you. So we can do this, okay? I love you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. And I hope y'all have a great day tomorrow. And I will see y'all tomorrow.